Diddy's federal sex trafficking trial underway. The jury hearing this morning testimony from a Homeland Security special agent in charge named Gerard Gannon.
Yesterday, a headline went around the internet that you've probably already seen. Diddy wins. Lawsuit dismissed. Dawn Richard's case thrown out. And if you only read the headline, you walked away believing one thing: that a judge looked at Dawn Richard's accusations against Sean Diddy Combs and decided they weren't true. Here's the problem. That is not what happened. That is not even close to what happened. Because buried inside the 35-page ruling the judge actually wrote, there is one sentence that completely changes the story, a sentence that almost none of those headlines mentioned. So today we're going to do the thing the headlines didn't. We're going to look at what the judge actually ruled. Why dismissed does not mean what most people think it means. And the one part of this case that is very much still alive. Stick with me, because the detail everyone skipped is the most important part of the whole thing. If you're into stories the headlines get wrong, hit subscribe, it genuinely helps. Let's get into it. To understand why this case mattered, you have to understand who Dawn Richard is. She wasn't an outsider, she was inside Diddy's world for years. She first broke through on MTV's Making the Band, the reality competition that Diddy himself ran, the show that assembled the girl group Danity Kane. From there, she became part of Diddy Dirty Money, recording and performing directly alongside him. In other words, this was a working relationship that spanned the better part of a decade. She didn't just cross paths with Diddy, she was in the studio with him, on tour with him, built into the machine he created. That history is exactly why her accusations carried weight, and exactly what Diddy's legal team would later point to in his defense. In September 2024, Dawn Richard filed a civil lawsuit against Diddy. 18 separate claims. According to her lawsuit, this wasn't just about her own experience. A central part of her allegations was about what she says she witnessed happen to someone else, the singer Cassie, Diddy's then-girlfriend. Richard alleged that she saw abusive behavior, and that Diddy became angry with her when she encouraged Cassie to leave the relationship. She would later describe in court an alleged 2009 incident involving Diddy and Cassie that she says she watched unfold. She also made allegations about her own treatment. According to her claims, she endured grueling working conditions, including stretches without sleep, that she says caused her to lose weight and break out in rashes. And she alleged inappropriate physical contact during studio sessions. Now these are allegations. Diddy has denied them. We're going to get to his side. But it's important to lay out what was actually in the lawsuit, because it tells you why this case got so much attention. It wasn't isolated. It connected directly to the larger storm already surrounding him. Here's where it gets bigger than one lawsuit. In May 2025, Dawn Richard didn't just have a civil case sitting in a file somewhere. She took the witness stand in Diddy's federal criminal trial and testified. So now you have the same person making allegations in a civil suit and also testifying as a witness in the criminal case against him. Those two tracks were running side by side. And the outcome of that criminal trial matters for context here, because people constantly confuse the two. In July 2025, a jury acquitted Diddy of the most serious charges: racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. He was convicted on 2 lesser counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. That October, he was sentenced to 50 months in prison, fined $500,000, and is currently serving that sentence with a projected release in 2028. That's the criminal case. Separate verdict. Separate court. Keep it in a separate box in your head, because what happened this week was the civil case, and it played out completely differently. Okay. This is the part the headlines got wrong. Pay attention here, because this is the whole video. On June 15th, 2026, federal judge Catherine Polk-Fea dismissed all 18 of Dawn Richard's claims. Dismissed, that word is doing a lot of damage right now, because people hear it and assume the judge weighed the evidence and decided the accusations were false. She did not. In her own written opinion, the judge made a point of saying she was not ruling on whether the allegations were true. In fact, she stated plainly that if the claims were true, they would be, and this is close to her exact word, execrable. Meaning, appalling. Awful, so why throw them out? On procedure, not on substance. 15 of the counts were dismissed because, under the law, they were filed too late past the statute of limitations, the legal deadline for bringing that kind of claim. It doesn't matter how serious an accusation is, if it's filed after the clock runs out, the court can't hear it. 2 more claims were about a song called Deliver Me copyright claims. Those were dismissed because the court found Diddy was legally a co-author of the song. And that's the distinction everyone's missing. A case can be thrown out on a technical deadline without a single judge ever deciding whether the underlying story is true or false. That's what happened here. This was a ruling about timing and jurisdiction, not a verdict on what did or didn't happen. So here's where we land. A headline told you a judge threw out Dawn Richard's case against Diddy. That's true. But the same judge in the same ruling went out of her way to say she was not deciding whether the accusations were real, and she left the most serious claim alive to fight another day in another court. That's the difference between reading a headline and reading the ruling. One gives you a winner, the other gives you the truth, that this story is far from finished. If this cleared things up for you, do me a favor and hit like it tells the algorithm to show this to people getting fooled by the headline right now. Subscribe if you want the next chapter when that state court claim moves. And drop a comment. Do you think she refiles? I read every one,